the launching ceremony of Vietnam Venture Capital Alliance. I'm Josie, I'm investment manager from ThinkZone, and I will be your moderator today. Okay, so to start the day, I will briefly give you an overview of what we are doing right now. So, as you all know, Singapore and Indonesia has traditionally dominated the Southeast Asia startup scene, but now Vietnam emerged as a new contender with one of the fastest growing startup ecosystem. We are up and up on the any table. In 2019, Vietnam ranked third in Southeast Asia in the number of active startups, with over 3,000 active startups, in which most of them are tech startups. And also in 2019, the total investment in Vietnamese startup ranked second in Southeast Asia with over 700 million US dollars, and we surpassed Singapore for the first time. In particular, the effort of the Vietnamese government in controlling the spread of COVID-19 is a strong driving force for the growth of the ecosystem. We are one of the fastest growing economy in the world at a time when many other countries are still struggling. We see hope and growth at a time when people see fear. And as a result, Vietnam appears to be one of the even more attractive destinations for investment. And although the rise has been so impressive, our country does face a lot of challenges ahead. And this is the topic of the thing we will discuss today, and about the potential challenges for VC when investing in Vietnam, and also other suggestions to improve this overall situation here in the ecosystem. Today, we also want to officially launch the Vietnam Venture Capital Alliance. We will talk about the activities of the alliance, as well as what we can do to support the entire ecosystem. So, to begin with, I would like to introduce Mr. Bill Richard, representative from Pegasus Tech Venture, a well-known global VC based in Silicon Valley and the organizer of Startup World Cup. Although Bill cannot be here today in Vietnam, but Bill will have a few words for us. Video.
Invest in Vietnam? What are the barriers and what are the future potentials of this ecosystem? So, having to talk about this, but first of all, let me say, my observation is that the Vietnamese startup companies and the entire startup venture community is doing a fantastic job. We've seen several very exciting companies. I've seen many companies be very successful in Vietnam. Vietnam has the basis of the great venture ecosystems on the planet. It's a country with extraordinary energy, great economic growth, but incredible talent and unbelievable enthusiasm in a very young population. So there's every ingredient that Vietnam needs to build a vibrant and highly successful venture ecosystem. Talk a little bit about some of the barriers and maybe what you can do to alleviate those problems. So the direct barriers, and there are indirect barriers. The direct barriers fall into the category of policies and regulations that inhibit investment and startup growth. So those fall to a variety of projects. From an investor's point of view, what we want to see is we want to see a regime of security law and contract law that we understand that is aligned with the interests of investing in and growing companies, that we can count on to make sure that contracts are enforced and that our licenses are safe. So the whole policy about securities law and contract law, and then other policies that are highly relevant to investors, and also especially like labor law and visa requirements that investors will need to bring talent into Vietnam or hire talent that's needed even in Vietnam. And also, it's a one-talent ghost when it turns out that individuals have we want to be able to get them to find the next best thing for themselves. So labor law, visa requirements, and then of course tax law. So I'm not so much going to focus on the level of taxes as on the complexity of taxes. That's a big deal to startups as they're working to investors. It's not so much that we're against taxes. Fundamentally, what we're against is a complexity of a tax system that is so burdensome for startup companies that they have to spend so much time and energy trying to be state compliance, but they can't put it on their fundamental business. So taxes and then other regulations like banking regulations or other regulations that be very specific to companies, e-commerce, advertising, life science, healthcare, medicine, regulations that get in the way of that unnecessarily inhibit the success of startup companies. So compliance, those issues directly in the way of outside investors wanting to come in and invest, and they get in the way of entrepreneurs being able to build their company and scale their companies. So another sort of direct issue that Vietnam has is a matter of distance, right? So Vietnam is most of the investment hubs around the world, obviously. I mean, we're a long way away. Even though we have an office in Southeast Asia, it's hard to get good visibility into exactly what's going on in Vietnam. So events like TECHFEST are great to enable us to see what's going on, to connect with the members of the local ecosystem so you can hear kind of what's hot, what's not, what's trending, what are the issues, what are the challenges, and what are the best opportunities. So events like TECHFEST are great for helping us from afar be able to plug in and get to know what's going on, get more visibility into the ecosystem, therefore access into the ecosystem. But to the extent that policies and distance create a sense of uncertainty for outside investors, make sort of the future unknown for outside investors, that obviously is a challenge to getting outside investors to come in. Then there's the whole category of indirect barriers to outside. I mean, primarily the biggest issue that we have as an outside investor is the overall health of the venture ecosystem. So the health of the venture ecosystem really needs the health of the entrepreneur community, support entrepreneurs, and the health of the investment community. Is there a strong population of business angels and angel investors to help entrepreneurs right at the beginning, not just with money, but also with advice and experience that can help them start up, scale up, and build their own business. So it's having a great angel community is important. Related to that are accelerator programs that have talented people running them who give advice to entrepreneurs to help them with their strategy as well as their team building as well as their fundraising. So that infrastructure, the help of that infrastructure at the real startup level is really important. I think it's important that it not just be government, but the private sector, individual investors and others who are participating in supporting then you also want to see a healthy venture capital view. So Vietnam has built a community of great venture capital organizations. Getting it even bigger and stronger is part of the business, including getting corporations involved. So I know, in fact, some of the venture capital investors in Vietnam that are backed by corporations, which is great. One of the most important things in every innovation ecosystem is the importance of getting the corporate community actively involved in supporting entrepreneurs and startups by setting up the board, providing mentorship, advisory service, but also using their products, tapping into their products to help them understand what works and what doesn't work, and to help them scale up. That's important for the success of the ecosystem. Is the extensive and deep development of the corporate community is supporting entrepreneurs. And then, of course, there are other stakeholders involved. The professional services community, all of the other stakeholders that are needed to support entrepreneurs. Including professional services and other support systems, as well as the academic university community, that's critical for training, as well as creating an environment to help entrepreneurs develop that entrepreneurial mindset. And then, of course, having the government celebrate entrepreneurship and having the entire community of Vietnam celebrating entrepreneurship just the way you're doing here. To make sure that for young people, entrepreneurship should be an aspiration, not a second choice or last choice. The issue in a lot of companies in a lot of countries is the degree to which the aspiration of the most talented people coming out of university is to be the lawyer, to be a crazy corporation, or to work with the government. What's great is the aspiration of talented individuals to become entrepreneurs. Contribute to the success of Vietnam country. So those are some of the indirect issues. Another indirect issue is the availability of talent for entrepreneurs, for startups. So Vietnam has a great talent. Business, but there's not a lot of experience in business and scaling up business to the national level and global level across the board. So what investors want to see in the ecosystem is talent that is available, that has the experience of scaling. Now, as there's a lot of talent available in a broader ESG then it's easy to attract people straight back into Vietnam. So that experience into the ecosystem. We've seen numbers of companies where the founding entrepreneurs actually spend a certain amount of time on it, either in education or in other companies, in other companies, coming back to Vietnam to move their successes here in Vietnam. That is a great testament to the opportunity here that these young people are deciding. But that's why now Vietnam takes advantage of this ecosystem to build their success in the future. So the availability of talent is outside investment point of view. If we don't see talent available to scale up, it's really hard for us. So that's one of the things we also want to see the right mindset. And I kind of say, sort of ironic, but if I was thinking about this in the mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset brought somewhat from Karl Marx. It's manifested, from each according to ability to each according to need. Well, ironic, but when you are building a successful high-performing company, you want to attract that ability. You want to attract a combination of skills, of complementary skills that can help you with founder scale up your business. You can't do it alone. The only way to build a successful company is to bring very high ability talent into your organization and then support them with the successful. So, the entrepreneurial mindset is a mindset of attracting high ability individuals and providing them with the resources they need to go be successful, rather than being a controlling boss demanding loyalty or ambition. That's something that I think see in most of the entrepreneurs that I see in Vietnam, but it's a different kind of mindset than is traditionally taught in most cultures. So, with that, some recommendations on what Vietnam should be doing to close the barriers and increase the likelihood of investors coming in. First of all, addressing these policy issues, the regulatory issues that I talked about. Again, you know them better than I. My understanding is that there are groups of people there that are focused on trying to identify what are the policy and regulatory issues that get in the way of innovation, entrepreneurship, and attracting outside investment into Vietnam. So my understanding is you're already focused on that. Now the issue is what's it going to take to get those changes made. That build the community, as I said, the health of the ecosystem and the availability of talent is the key to the success of startups. Investing in Vietnam. So one of the keys to building a community is to have a mindset of collaboration within the community. You know, there's a tendency in every culture, in every society, to be competitive, you know, to try to beat the other guy to resources, to their vision, to whatever it is. What is so great about that here in the basket-based ecosystems is this mindset of collaboration, by working together all the way, by having investors work with other investors, and with other entrepreneurs, and corporates work with corporates, working together toward building successful companies, everybody wins. So creating this culture of collaboration around is incredibly important to user success. And that culture of collaboration will attract outsiders like Texas and other investors and entrepreneurs who want to come to Vietnam or participate in this culture. So keep on doing the good work you're doing. Test with the creation of the Vietnamese Investors Alliance. Great initiative to help build the community and improve and increase the collaboration, expand that network, expand the entrepreneurial network, and thanks also to the Ministry of Science and Technology that has sponsored the TECHFEST and is supporting the entrepreneur community. Great support for expanding the innovation ecosystem. And we here at Texas Tech Ventures, we want to be supporters as well. And one of the great honors I have, in addition to being part of the evangelist of the startup world, and we are delighted to partner with TECHFEST in running this competition to find the best entrepreneurs in Vietnam, to bring the most successful entrepreneurs back to Silicon Valley and compete with a $1 billion grand prize to take it back like Harry did last year. Harry did won the global startup world competition and led to be part of the team helping at Harry did here in Vietnam. So with that, thank you all for giving me this opportunity. And I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Bill, for your helpful comments. Moving on from that, we'll have a panel on the topic barrier for VCs to invest in Vietnam. It's my honor to welcome on stage our guest today. First of all, it's Mr. Olivier Hilton, co-founder and managing partner at VB Ventures. Second is Ms. Hoàng Minh Đức, Special Counsel at Duane Morris, and Mr. Nguyễn Hoàng Việt, Investment Manager at Việt Nam Investment Group. Thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, to spice it up a little bit, can you please briefly introduce about yourself and what you're doing?
Hi, xin chào. Thanks a lot for having me. Congratulations, Quad, for the organization of the event. Just in a few words of Phoebe, first of all, I mean, it's for entrepreneur by entrepreneur. It's an early stage, so seed, pre-A tech fund for Vietnam and Southeast Asia partners. We have a Vietnamese partner called Minh, based in Ho Chi Minh City. Two of my other partners have a conglomerate of 6,000 talent here in Vietnam, and we launched them in January 2020.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for organizing the event today. Quick introductions about Vietnamese investment groups is we are the private equity with 3 funds, 550 million under AUM, and we are invested in about above 20 companies in Vietnam since 2007.
Thank you. A quick introduction from me. Myself. My name is Hoàng Minh Đức. I'm Special Counsel Journalist Vietnam, and Journalist Vietnam is a U.S. law firm. Our parent company in the U.S. and in Vietnam, we are mainly advise on M&As and also the investment in venture capital. We also work on both sides of the venture capitalist and so startup. Thank you.
Okay, so we are to our first topic. We'll discuss about the Vietnamese startup ecosystem. So my first question for you is Vietnam is like a very young population and we have a growing internet economy. So how do you see Vietnam as a market to invest in? This question first, I would like to address to Mr. Việt.
Okay. So I think one of the very advantage of Vietnam is the high GDP growth and the dynamics economics, and we also have very young demographics of groups and the new talents that are coming in at this stage. So in the macro overview, I think that it's a very good timing to invest, and we are having the new from the startups ecosystems also.
Okay, so according to the newest report on the Southeast Asia internet economy by Google and Temasek, and also Bain Company, Vietnam's internet economy has grown like 16% from last year to around $14 billion, which is the highest growth rate in the Southeast Asia. So what do you have any insight in the internet economy of Vietnam? This one is for Mr. Olivier.
So to answer to your question and complement about what being said, we see some let's say quantitative advantage and qualitative one. So on top of the GDP growth, population, the number of engineers also, so it's pretty attractive for the country. You also have the pretty low operating cost compared to some other country, which is definitely a quantitative advantage. The fact that several, let's say, wealthy and developed market regions like Korea, Japan, Singapore are interested by the Vietnamese ecosystem, bring some very interesting investment inflow, and to complement with some qualitative factors. So the fact that the Vietnamese citizens are truly entrepreneurs, like the gentleman from the US just said in the video, the fact that you have a pretty strong gender balance with the business, with several lady who runs a company and entrepreneurs, the fact that also for us, for investors, you have a kind of pretty low competition within the categories. So you have one or two players, but not 5 or 6 like in country like India or China. All those combination of quantity and quality factors make that Vietnam is a truly interesting market.
What do you think is the unique feature of Vietnam startup ecosystem compared to other countries in the world, Mr. Đức?
I think this a little bit technical, but from my from the legal perspective, just from my legal perspective, because I think at the end of the day, it would come down to the question of the environment. So from the legal perspective, I think that the good thing is that the legal framework is more and more friendly to the I can give you an example. For the last few years, we never think about some kind of the setting up a venture capital, domestic venture capital. However, we have made a breakthrough by introducing the decree 38. This is the first time that venture capital to be set up in Vietnam without going through the security market regulation. And this is and another one is that recently we introduced the investment law as new investment law, and this I have to say that it creates a revolution in the sense that previously we can only do what the law allows us to do, especially for foreign investors. From now, the foreign investor investing in Vietnam, and they can do whatever they want except for the one expressly restricted or prohibited by the law.
Yeah, just to share our views on the opportunity. So first of all, for the large category like real estate, for example, out of 100 million population, companies and startups can build a pretty sizable and standalone business. On some, let's say tier 2 or slightly smaller categories, I truly believe that Vietnam and the Vietnamese entrepreneur have a kind of right to win versus other countries like Philippines, like Thailand, like Myanmar, for example. And out of that, you don't only have 100 million population and potential customers, but potentially 400 million. So we're really looking also at building a regional champion from Vietnam. And we were discussing with Eddie at 500 startup a few days ago, also about how to build companies from Vietnam to the world. And if you take some example like Spotify, if I remember well, was built out of Sweden. Maybe only 15 million citizen over there. I was reading in the news a few days ago, a SaaS company like Pipedrive that we use. It's built out of Estonia. I checked on Wikipedia earlier today. Estonia is 1.5 million people, and they built this company, and it was valued $5 billion a few days ago. So it's definitely possible in gaming or in B2B SaaS to build a champion from here. So again, pretty attractive build category. It's big enough in Vietnam. Regional champion and potentially a global leader. And you guys build VNG and several others to show.
So with the spreading of the COVID-19, is your investment strategy change over time? Or can you share more about what is your current strategy right now? This one is for Mr. Viet and also Olivia after.
Just sharing a bit from the standpoint of view of the private equity, that we invest a lot, like previously from like consumer sectors, which is the mostly like traditionals and the offline thing. So one of the things that changed our strategy is we are moving to the more online. And how we want to move is we want to make synergy between our offline portfolios and we bring these offline expertise into the online. So like we invest in a lot of like offline educations, offline entertainments, and healthcare. So we are trying to move all those sectors for the digital transformations. So those will be the sectors that we are looking at it in the online. Second view that we are trying to see is the adoptions of the technologies in different subsectors. So we see that fintech and e-commerce are very highly penetrated, but also the next of sector can be like education, healthcare, and a lot others. So we are trying to find the sector with like the easiest way to and digital things.
Yeah, so a few comments here. We were pretty bullish about Vietnam already before COVID. Vietnam being one of the champion, if not the global champion about COVID. We're even more excited about Vietnam after COVID and or during, let's say. We started the fund only in January this year, so we're definitely kind of COVID native. So we integrate in our investment thesis COVID from day one. We don't have to make dramatic change in terms of investment thesis. Having said that, we definitely take into account a few parameters like the runway. In the past, we could onboard less cash and anticipating that the round will happen fast. In our current scenario, we're pretty conservative and we make sure to invest in slightly larger round where founders have at least 24 to 30 months of cash in front of them. That's the first thing. Obviously, we're looking a bit more deeply in kind of a core. You mentioned online education, telemedicine, e-commerce enabler, all the, let's say, usual, I would say, suspect in that COVID environment.
So we have been talking a lot about the advantage of the Vietnamese startup ecosystem so far. I want to ask you guys a little bit about the legal aspect. What do you think about the limitation for the Vietnamese startup in particularly, and also the ecosystem in general? Mr. Can you add something on that?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let me start with a story. I have a friend who he wrote some line on his Facebook. He said that because we are Vietnamese, so he has to stay and die in our homeland. Because he condemned some guy who moved to Singapore, set up the company in Singapore and invest in Vietnam. However, just a few months later, his Singaporean company received a huge investment from foreign fund. It's not just the issue that he did not keep his word or no longer a precious, but he changed his mind. He changed his policy because he request him to do so, and he so far that this is the right thing to do. So, the question I am a lawyer, so I know very well that most of the currency we invest in Singapore is violates Vietnamese law. Because in order for you to invest in Singapore, you need to some special license from the government of Vietnam. But most of the country I'm working with, they just bring some few thousand $US to Singapore and set up a company in Singapore because the establishment cost in Singapore is quite cheap. It's only 2,000 or 3,000, and yeah. So the question is why they reach that? In order to set up a company, they break the law, and why is it? Because I think that there are many clear advantages that Singapore and other neighboring countries we cannot. The reason that it would be the transparency in the legal system. Few months ago, I heard a case about one of the company in Vietnam. This is the HR company, human resource supply company in Vietnam. They provide service in the sector. However, on a very beautiful day, they found out that the user of some mobile operator are unable to access their website if they use their cell phone. And the CEO or the founder of the company run an investigation what happened to them. Why the user cannot access the website? And he was told that there are some big guy from up there give us some kind of the oral instruction to stop the access to his website, some kind of like the death from the sky. And of course, there is no devices here, and everything is some kind of hit under the belt. He have no idea what is going on. So this is kind of show it a little bit because we do not say that it happens on the we know it happens from time to time. And I sometimes ask myself, if that company, they move to Singapore or they move to Delaware in the US and get back to Vietnam, is it possible for them to receive the same consequences? I think that the most likely answer would be no. But they are domestic company and they suffer from the lack of transparency in the legal framework. Yeah, so, yeah. And the second one would be the openness of the market sector of the government. For now, in Vietnam, we have two totally different playing field. One for purely local company and another one for foreign investors company. And basically, we are the same. We play on the same playground, except for the market access. As last year and last Canadian fund investors, they tend to invest in a business led by women, and they find very strong candidates. That company provides some app that allow you to pay very little amounts of money. And you can have your motorcycle repair everywhere in the system. When it's come down, in order for us to complete the transaction, we have to go to the government to ask for the MA, we call that the MA approval, some kind of the green light from the government, and we just find out that there is very old rules under the law saying that the maintenance service, the maintenance service that the company provide this own vehicle only. This means that, for example, you are the Honda Vietnam or your Toyota Vietnam, you can only provide maintenance service to your own car. But her business model is to provide service to every car, regardless of whether the sale is up or not. And we don't understand why the government have such kind of restriction, because we do not think that it has anyone else. But of course, ultimately, we are able to find out some structure. But I have to say that we are not quite comfortable with that. Yeah. So this is the second issue, legal issue. The third one would be the entrance and the exit of the fund. And one of the key advantages that I think the Singaporean company can provide to a very quick exit. If you're a fan and you want to sell it to some new buyer, it may take days, but in Vietnam we have to go through procedures. And also, the approval maybe is get stuck somewhere. It may take from few months in order to get the green light from the government. So, and the last one would be a little bit relating to the fund, domestic fund. I talk about the domestic fund because I know that here we have a lot of local fund, and for now with only one piece of legislation about the fund. It is Decree 38 that allow us to set a fund without going through the security law. However, until now, there are only few funds established because of the lack of the legal framework, lack of guidance from the law. And one of the things is that local fund, local fund, they cannot provide loan, they cannot provide convertible notes. We work with a lot of foreign venture capitalists, and they find it very easy to change from equity to convertible note to convertible security. But in Vietnam, you cannot do so. If you are the fund, you can only invest through the equity channel. So that is some thought I share about the restriction.
Okay, and I get with almost 8 years of investing in Vietnam, both in private investment and venture capital. What do you think about the limitation of Vietnamese startup ecosystem and like investment framework?
So I think besides the legal aspect that we already have the sharings, I think corporate governance is one of the issues for the startups in Vietnam, as it has been like quite early compared to the other countries, especially for the techs. So corporate governance is definitely one of the problems. And the second thing I want to share is also on the part of managing the cash flows is always one of the very key skills that every startups needs, and the markets, because everyone knows that we have like 100 millions of populations, but most of that like Ho Chi Minh cities and maybe the Da Nang, and that's where the early tech adoption is with the high internet penetrations. But for 23 cities, and there is the big gaps, and it's hard to find and build the strategy to target the whole markets in Vietnam. So I think that for the next coming years, that will be one of the key issues.
Yeah, two quick points. Just want to come back on your previous question about COVID. I think I forgot a fundamental point about what, let's say, COVID, the business and the investment thesis. It's clearly that the mindset from most of the investors turn from the growth at all costs to more sustainable growth, and we need to mirror kind of break even in short mid-term or at a certain point. First things regarding to your last question about the policy, the way we see things is that it's kind of obviously unfair to emerging market like Vietnam versus Hong Kong or Singapore, where the main value proposition of those countries, because they have a lot of internal market, is to have IP protection and legal setup pretty efficient. But now for me, the real question is how to compare Vietnam with Bangladesh, Pakistan, Russia, Brazil. I was investing in Brazil during 8 years, and I can tell OECD ease of doing business. Brazil is 140, whereas Vietnam is 60. So, of course, it's difficult to do business in emerging market for the several reasons that you mentioned, but I believe that Vietnam is pretty well positioned, and with the fourth and the new governor of Bank of Vietnam and the sandbox, things are going in the right direction. But again, we need to compare Vietnam with 5 or 6 other markets, and in a way for being for the different fund in the room, just for Monks Hill, for us it's also a kind of barrier to entry, right? To not have even Chinese startup to come to Vietnam. So I don't see that as an hurdle. I definitely see that as an opportunity to kind of protect Vietnamese entrepreneur to be number one in the country before expanding.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Just a follow-up question. You said something about the Vietnamese entrepreneurs, right? And you have like experience investing in many countries, for example, Brazil or some other major market. Yeah. So, what do you think about what is the most difficulties for the Vietnamese entrepreneur compared to other countries for the Vietnamese entrepreneur?
One thing that I would like to share here with the community is that in the recent weeks we're seeing a lot of very attractive startup, very strong founders, very cool business model and large category. But the setup from day one is not really investor friendly, because they work with a lot of kind of angels or chairmen, which from day one control 40% or 50% of the company. So I've seen that in other markets, but it's very true at the moment when we're talking in our pipeline. So many startups are kind of hiring a CEO, but they're controlled by somebody else in the back. And I believe for Justin, Bean, and myself, it's after meeting one soon as we know that, we exclude them. So the message here, because we can discuss but please tell to all the other angels, an angel should not have more than 1-2% of the company. By taking 30-40%, angels do one thing, they kill the startup. And we're seeing that day after day after day after day. So that's my main message. I count on you to tell to all your friends, please limit your stake in the company, or either do it yourself, but don't go to Monk Seal 500 and be showing those type of company or VIG now.
VIG, do you want to add something on that?
Yeah, I think what Oliver said was like pretty straightforward, and you have to agree with that. And our table said founders need to have like significant controls and directions of the company.
Yeah. I think that brings us to the next topic. For the ecosystem to grow and to be sustainable, we need a lot of VCs in different stage, not just Series A, Series B, but also early stage and even pre-seed, so that the startup have the support in financially, so that they can like arrange the terms dealing with the angel investor better. So that's the reason why we have a new initiative recently to establish the Vietnam Venture Capital Alliance. It's an ongoing discussion with the Trong and also with the government agency on how to grow the community, how to have one united voice of the VC network, and how to effectively propose policy to the government so that we can optimize the resource available for the startup ecosystem. So what do you think an alliance can do for the stakeholders in the startup ecosystem? Not just the startup, not just the VC, also the governments and others organizations within the ecosystem. So what are your proposals to the alliance with Mr. Việt and later Mr. Olivier?
So just sharing from the point of view of the private equity, I think that the community for the VCs and all the kind of investment funds will help the transparencies of the informations and the sharings of the treasury and the investment pipelines. I think all of these are on the managing the flows of the capitals, which help to develop the subsectors and to help the better balancing between the investments. I think will be one of the key things.
So Olivier, you have like during your time in other countries, investing in other business in other countries, do you see the same alliance over there? And what are your comments on the initiative first that we are starting the alliance?
Sure. No, I think, first of all, I don't know all the country or a lot of country, just have a few data points, but it's one of the first time that I'm seeing those type of initiatives. Most of the time, they apply to a player like in the US, like Wine Combinator, who are doing a great job for the community by providing what is a convertible note, or what are the standard terms. So then maybe lawyers can make a little bit fees, but a little less fees, but at least the entrepreneur can focus on company culture, UI, UX, and not spending ages on contract, because we should not reinvent the wheel on that. So that's definitely those type of association are able to push for the legal and tax framework that and then doing also kind of very soft and humble lobby for the government to have clarity on the license, reducing the cash on delivery and build the cashless society, and improving also the infrastructure of the country, because when 25% of the GDP go to logistics, that kind of penalize some business. So I believe, from a tax and legal point of view plus government relationship, we make total sense to talk as a one single voice and not every single investor defending his own positioning or idea. So I like this collective approach very much.
Should there be any kind of obligations for the members of the alliance, Mr. Du?
No, I think there shouldn't be any obligation from the member of the alliance, but as I'm thinking about adding some kind of function of the fund alliance. The first thing I think that from a policy making and legal purpose, I think that because the alliance have the member, all of them can be considered the insider who have the insight of the market, who know the market very well, so we can form some kind of channel when we can help the government to improve the legal framework, the policy making in a way that is more friendly to the VC and to the startup. And another thing is another minor that I also follow some associations, some venture capital associations in the world. For example, I read a lot of document in the not ventures. NVCA is not venture capital, and a lot of that activity is quite influential. That I think we can learn a little bit from them. That they create some kind of standard document with a very clear explanation, like what is the term sheet, what is the current, what will not. This is critical, I think, in Vietnam, because most of the startup, when even I advise from the side of the startup, of the side of venture capital, I will find that if you are a startup and unless you have been you already go through some kind of fund, some series before that, the equity funding round before that, you have no idea. They have no idea on these very key fundamental document, and this may expose both to some future conflict and disputes. Yeah.
And listening to my colleague, just had an idea. What I've seen on other markets is that those type of association or institution, whatever the name we give it, also aggregate all the data from the markets and communicate properly as a single, the exact number of startup, the exact number of investment, and to give way more transparency to the local ecosystem, but also to the international one and to the community. As the gentleman from Silicon Valley said in the video, because today in Southeast Asia, not only in Vietnam, is that there is no institution tracking the number of stuff. It's done by one of us. The one that the different fund declare the data to another fund, it doesn't make sense, So it need to be well, and this kind of Switzerland association should be the one who gather the data and communicate properly to the media and to the ecosystem, and not one of us doing that.
So follow up on the discussion. That's one expectation from the VB Ventures when established an alliance. So as an investor, do you have any other expectation for an alliance to work, Mr. Viet?
Yeah, I think one of the very key will be to soften the regulations and helping the domestic startups to gain the cash and the investment capital from overseas, which will help the FDI to convert from just the big corporates into the SMEs. So that will be one of the key challenge and the things that we expect.
Yeah, you mentioned one thing that about the support for the large corporations in Vietnam. Yeah, I think that's an important player in the ecosystem, but they are not really engaged so far. So can you share more about your experience working with startup and try to engage the large corporations in the world?
Actually, from what I was sharing is that a lot of FDI coming from Vietnam is still into the big corporations, like all the listed equities, and we have less capital coming into the SME or the tech startups. So because of the regulations and a lot of restrictions. So my expectations from this association is to help the softens those regulations and the strict regulations also that can help the new capital coming into the sector.
Okay, so do you have any suggestion on what kind of activity should the alliance do? The activities for the alliance for the VC, for the corporation of the VC. Okay. Yeah. So hey. Okay. So what do you think is the major problems of the ecosystem right now, and by establishing the alliance, can we like overcome that, like in short term, in the near future? Do you, Mr. Vitt, do you want to add on that?
I see that's almost the part that we already mostly shared.
Yeah, but like more focus on like what we can do short term and what we can do with the long term. With the first of all, we as we can see already, we have an alliance of like 14 VC right now. But like looking in the long run, what do you think we can do more?
I think always start with talent. So we already have a lot of talent in the ecosystem, but it's kind of never enough. So those type of association can definitely showcase more because we mainly talk about the founders, the exit, the unicorn, but life is not really only about cash and money, even if it's an important, but it's also regarding the career path and the personal development. So I believe we can be a bit more granular and not only emphasize the talent under the spotlight, saying, oh, we've done this exist or we've done this, but rather showcasing young analysts who enter at VNG or at Biomed, Tuoxy, and doing be promoted to associate and then to manager, to illustrate that it's a really strong alternative versus the large corporate or the large bank. And again, I have nothing against the corporation, don't get me wrong, but I think we see too much startup out of the fundraising, exit, and founder, and maybe we can give a bit this example of whatever Minh Nguyen at 23 years old, who after 4 years in different startup build his career and be a knowledgeable professional and develop himself and along the journey. That's an idea. I was not a.
Okay, so this time I want to address to the audience. Do you have any questions for our respective guest speaker? Do you have any question on the live stream? Okay, so I think we will be moving on to the next part. We will have the official signing ceremony of the MOU for the VVCA. So thank you all so much for your sharing today. And we will move to the next part.
Thank you for having us.
Can we take a picture together? Okay, so thank you so much. Yeah, you sit down in that page of the film. Turn. So right now we'll be on this part. We will begin the signing ceremony of the MOU to establish the Vietnam Venture Capital Alliance. I will invite each of the representative from each VC to be on stage and have the signing here. And then after you sign the MOU, please remain on stage so that we can have a picture together. So first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Tuấn from Next 100. Anh Tuấn đây. Please be on stage to have the signing ceremony. Okay, so can you please share a bit about yourself and your firm?
Okay, so our fund is the Next 100. We established last year, and we invest in early stage startup, especially in technology, because we are a next tech group, and the next tech group we have like 20 years in the technology field. So and we invest the ticket size would be around 500K for each startup, and I hope that we can have the opportunity to connect and to maybe invest in the future. Okay.
So later we can have a picture together. Next one, I would like to invite Mr. Justin from Monks Hill Ventures. So, yeah. So before you start, can you please share about yourself and your firm?
Hi. My name is Justin Nguyen. I'm a partner with Monks Hill Ventures. Monks Hill is a Southeast Asia-focused early-stage venture capital fund, primarily investing at the Series A level. We started investing in 2014. We have some large companies like Ninja, which we were the first investors in originally, Ninja and KKD. And in Vietnam, we made a few Series A investments here. We invested into Elsa, into GeoHealth, and into Omni Labs here. So happy to be a part of the alliance and to meet you all.
Let's see. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. You please remain on stage. Okay. Next one, please be on stage, Mr. Bing Chen from Founders Startup.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Ben Turan. I'm the general partner for 500 Startups Vietnam. We are pre-seed and seed investor here in Vietnam. We have a team of 10 in the country, and we have a portfolio of over 70 companies. We've invested in companies such as Elsa, Trusting Social, and a few others. We just had our demo day last week. You can see a lot of those companies on our website and be able to connect with them through the website. Really glad to be here, be part of the alliance, and see this mature and grow.
Can you do this? Yeah, right here. Okay, thank you. So, one, please be on stage, Mr. Việt from VIG, Vietnam Investment Group. Please briefly introduce again.
We're in Vietnam with 3 funds, 550 million under AUMs. We invest in Galaxy Cereals, Thiên Groups, Japan Apps, and almost 20 companies in Vietnam.
The next one, I would like to invite Ms. Thị Lâm from Next Chan. please introduce about yourself and your.
So hello everyone, I'm from Korean-based VC that focus mainly invest in very early stage startup in Vietnam. We start investment in Vietnam in 2019, and until now we have 22 companies in the portfolio. So really hope to be partner with all of the VCs here. Thank you very much.
Next one, Mr. Tuấn from Cyber Agent. Okay. So, Mr. Olivier from VB Ventures. You can like write your name. Okay. Again, do you want?
Yeah, very quickly. So we have $25 million under management, 9 talent between Vietnam and Singapore, and we invested in 7 startups so far this year, including 3 in Vietnam.
So I would like to invite Mr. Đức from J. Morris to be on stage.
Hi everyone. And again, I'm Hoàng Minh Đức from Việt Nam. And our clients in foreign investment or Ireland, including venture capitalists and startup, and really happy to be a part of Alien. And I hope I can translate your concern into what should be the law and what should be the policy. Thank you.
And last but not least, I would like to invite Mr. Bùi Thành Đô from Think Zone Ventures.
Hi everyone, I'm Do, I'm founding partner of Think Zone Venture. So we are the new buy VC in Vietnam. We invest and support the early startup, and with not only cash, with more than cash. And I'm very happy to be the founding with many VC in Vietnam to join VVCA's new alliance of venture capital, and we want to be working as a club, as a member to sharing and support the all VC from not only domestic VC. We have domestic and international VC to be one point with the government, with the startup, with the media. Thank you.
Okay, so for those who cannot be here, we also have the participation from TECHFEST Ventures, Cyber Agent Capital, Quest Ventures, VIC Partners, Open Space Venture, EWTP, Ventura, SB Capital. Yeah, so thank you all for being here today, and please have a picture. Okay.
Sorry, I want to invite Mr. What do you want the important person? Do you want to share something about the VVCA and about the startup and the capital in Vietnam? It's almost of the partner in VC.
Thank you, Ro. I'm very happy to be the witness of the important birth of the alliance, Vietnamese Venture Capital Alliance, within the framework of TECHFEST. Is very happy. I'm very happy. It's I think different alliance, associations, but some active, truly active fund can help the tech startup. In university, beside university, there's not so many now in India. But we are pioneers in this field. So my strategy is our strategy is to develop a ecosystem with the focus on the university. It's a pool of talents and association of alliance the student and the teachers, professors is main resources for the tech startup in Vietnam. But they lack of money, they lack of market, they lack experience. So investor can share with them not only the money, but the culture, the mindset, and the experience, the vision for them, I think. So please come with us. We're going on a long journey for the future of the startup Vietnam ecosystem, with a focusing on the academic university. In Hanoi, we now will cooperate with the NEU to set up a kind of startup hub, pull on the students and the teachers for the new model business with the technology, and set up a kind of center for startup in the university, maybe the modern one in ASEAN. So I hope we can go together. In Ho Chi Minh City, we cooperate with the University of Economics in University. We're focusing on economics because they follow the new trends of the change of the economy, sharing economy and the internet economy now. Quickly, the technology only the tool, the methods to push up the new model, and the final of the ecosystem would be the roles of the enterprise, not only the technology. So to change the mindset from my ministry only, with the fund, with the investor. So tomorrow afternoon, the opening ceremony in TECHFEST. Please come with us to attend and to raise some voice from the investor, from the legal, respective legal, socialist. Very important. Now I think it's time to propose a new law on startup and venture capital. I think you should link venture capital with the startup, so we don't destroy the old law, the traditional one, but we create the new environment for the new foster technology startup. And now thousand SME, we don't touch them, the old law. But the tech startup only 3,000. The new forces, but very important. So they need the new investor, the new ways of investor. So you train the investor and train the startup founder to share how to be the angel capital, angel investor, and how to be involved in the venture capital, very new one. So I think we need a new law on that problem. So I think if you can propose to Prime Minister tomorrow afternoon, I think it's very good voice. So the alliance will be proposing new bill. Many different national law have their own startup and venture capital law. So investment law is very general. It's the basic law, but we have a special law for special tech startup. So it's my proposal, and I'm really happy to go with a long journey before. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Phạm Hồng Quất, Director General, National Agency for Technology. And please remain on stage so that we can all have photos together. So thank you all for coming today, and looking forward for more activities from the VBCA. Okay, good. So thank you all for coming here today, and it's been a lovely afternoon. Hope to see you soon in other activities of TEST. we'll have 3 days of event up until this Saturday, and hope to see you all. Thank you.